All right, let's get right into it. When we talk about a character like Mephostophles, it's easy to just label him the bad guy and move on. But that's really missing the bigger picture. We're not just looking at a villain here, we're about to deconstruct a complete and, frankly, seductive philosophical system. It's a terrifyingly logical argument, and we're going to break it down piece by piece.
And it all really boils down to this one question, a choice that gets right to the heart of what it means to be human. Let's forget good versus evil for a second. The real question is this: would you choose a difficult, demanding, even terrible freedom, or a nice, warm, comforting lie? Because according to this philosophy, how you answer that changes everything.
So to really get a grip on this, let's use a metaphor that's going to carry us through this whole explainer. On one side, you've got the mountain. This is ambition, it's struggle, it's that terrible freedom that demands every ounce of your being. And on the other side, the couch. That's security, ease, the comforting lie that asks for absolutely nothing but for you to give in.
Okay, so now let's bring in our philosopher, Mephostophles. See, he's not here to tempt you to pick one or the other. No, he's here to tell you that deep down, the choice has already been made. He's convinced that humanity, when it comes right down to it, always chooses the same side. He's known as the champion of the comforting lie. And his philosophy, well, it's not just some casual opinion. It's constructed like a mathematical proof. It's a step-by-step argument with one single goal: to prove that every single one of us will eventually submit, to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the couch always wins. So how does he build this seemingly airtight case? Well, it all starts with one single foundational premise. He calls it an axiom. And if you accept this one little point, the rest of his cynical logic is almost impossible to escape. So let's look at the very cornerstone of his worldview. And here it is, plain and simple, the foundational axiom: humanity is fundamentally and irredeemably frail. For him, this isn't just some observation, it's a law of the universe, the one constant in his cynical math. He doesn't see this weakness as a flaw we can overcome. He sees it as the very core of who we are. And if you accept that axiom, then this next part is pretty much a given. Because we're so frail, we will always prefer a comforting delusion over a difficult reality. We're a species that actively seeks out the easy falsehood simply because the weight of a harsh truth is just too heavy for us to carry. And this, right here, illustrates the big trade-off he thinks we're all making, all the time. Real freedom, it's a terrifying burden. It demands constant, exhausting effort. But security, even if it's just the illusion of safety, it offers relief. So, in this worldview, giving up your freedom isn't some great tragedy. It's just a logical transaction. You're rationally trading a heavy ideal for a tangible, immediate comfort. Okay, but how do you make people feel good about being weak? You need a moral system, a code that makes this surrender feel not just okay, but actually right. And that brings us to the next piece of his argument, the moral code designed to do exactly that. He calls this system slave morality. And what's so fascinating here is the description. It's a psychological operating system. Think about that. This isn't some high-minded set of ethics. It's a program. And it was forged in fear and resentment of anyone who is strong. Its entire function is to take weakness and surrender and rebrand them, not as failures, but as virtuous, even righteous choices.
And here's how it pulls off its most brilliant trick, the great inversion. This is where the whole system flips morality completely on its head. It takes the very things you need to climb that mountain, like pride and ambition, and it relabels them as evil. All that hard work, all that striving, it's casually dismissed as nothing more than a hollow, power-hungry pursuit. So here's the bottom line. This whole moral architecture gives you the perfect excuse. It ensures that when you finally collapse onto the couch, when you retreat into comfort, it doesn't feel like you're giving up. It feels like you're making a moral choice. It makes submission feel like coming home.
But this philosophy isn't just a passive belief system. Oh no, it has an active agent, a weapon that goes on the attack. This is the dynamic, corrosive force that dissolves ambition before it can ever get started. This is the spirit of negation.
You know how it starts? It's just a whisper. That little internal voice of doubt that creeps into your head whenever you're trying to do something difficult. It's the voice that whispers, right when things get tough, you know what? It's not worth it.
It's the seed of a deep, soul-crushing exhaustion.
And then, that simple little whisper gets an upgrade. It gets rationalized. It's given this sophisticated, intellectual-sounding excuse. The simple thought, it's not worth it, morphs into a cynical dismissal. That grand quest you're on, it's just a hollow, power-hungry pursuit. It's just your ego talking.
And that's the true nature of this spirit of negation. You can think of it as the cosmic counterbalance to creation itself. It's the force of uncreation, of entropy, of ultimate decay. It's the argument that in the end, all struggle is futile. And Mephostophles, he's its living, breathing avatar.
So, we've got the axiom that we're frail, the moral code to make us feel good about it, and the weapon of negation to enforce it. All of these philosophical pieces are leading to one final clinical test, a kind of cosmic wager designed to prove that this doctrine isn't just a theory, it's a universal law. And he sets it up just like a science experiment. First, the hypothesis. Even the absolute strongest among us is still, at their core, frail. The method? Subject this overman to the full, relentless power of doubt in the sweet, seductive pull of comfort. The prediction is simple and brutal. He will break. And the final conclusion? He'll be exposed as nothing more than a powerful slave to his own hidden need for security. And this is the ultimate prize he's after. This is the moment of total vindication for his entire worldview. He's not just looking for failure, he's looking for a complete reversal. The moment when the strongest will on earth finally gives up and begs, not for more power, not for glory, but for the sweet oblivion of human comfort. So, after taking apart this entire philosophical machine, we find ourselves right back where we started. We're back at that fundamental choice. But now we see the full crushing weight of the logic behind one side of that argument. And here we are again, the mountain versus the couch, the terrible freedom versus the comforting lie. But the difference is, now we understand the Mephistophelian pace, that the couch isn't just the easy choice. It's the choice that comes with its own moral justification and a deep philosophical argument that it's actually inevitable. Which leaves us with the doctrine's final chilling question. What if he's right? Is all of our striving, our struggle, our ambition, is it all just a temporary detour, a pointless little side quest on the inevitable journey back to the couch? That's the challenge that this entire philosophy leaves us to wrestle with.